Born on December 8, 1972, in the tranquil highland village of Kabunyoni, tucked near Eldama Ravine in Kenya's rugged Baringo County, Billy Kipkorir Chemirmir was the sixth of 9 children in a large, traditional Kalenjin family. His father, Joel Chemirmir, was a respected colonial-era chief, a stern but admired figure who held significant authority during a time when such leadership straddled both indigenous custom and colonial control. Though steeped in a family legacy of order and influence, young Billy's path would diverge dramatically from the one laid out by his lineage. This is the haunting true story of a Kenyan man who left his homeland chasing the promise of the American dream, only to become one of the most chilling serial killers ever to walk US streets. Billy's early life was shaped by instability and constant movement. He spent his formative years in the farming community of Solai, an area known for its patchwork of maize fields and dusty roads, before returning to Kabunyoni to live with his grandmother. By the late 1990s, Chemirmir sought a new beginning far from rural Kenya. With the assistance of 2 of his sisters, who had immigrated to the United States and established a foothold in the healthcare industry in North Texas, he acquired a visa and made his way to the United States. The land of opportunity, however, would become the setting for a deeply disturbing chapter in American crime history. Once in Texas, Chemirmir quickly acclimated to his new life. By 2004, he had married an American woman, a union that helped secure his legal permanent residency. But the marriage was short-lived, dissolving in divorce just 2 years later. He initially worked at his sister's elder care home, a small facility where he learned the intricacies of caring for the aging and vulnerable, a skill set that would later play a chilling role in his story. After gaining experience, he branched out on his own, presenting himself as a private caregiver. Advertising himself as a medical technician or home helper, he charged between $20 and $30 an hour. His soft-spoken nature and polite demeanor allowed him to earn the trust of elderly clients, many of whom lived alone or in independent senior facilities. Yet, behind the facade of compassion lay a troubling pattern. Over the years, Chemirmir collected several minor legal offenses, arrests for driving under the influence in 2010 and 2011, an assault charge in 2012, and a trespassing incident in 2016 at a senior housing complex where he used an alias. Each incident hinted at something darker, but none were enough to raise significant alarms. Then, families of elderly women began to notice odd coincidences. Their loved ones had died suddenly, with death certificates listing heart failure or natural causes. But something didn't sit right. Jewelry, cash, heirlooms were missing. These losses, though often dismissed as unrelated or unfortunate, began to form a pattern, small clues pointing toward a terrifying possibility. Between May 2016 and March 2018, authorities believe Chemirmir committed a spree of murders across Dallas and Collin Counties, targeting some of society's most vulnerable, elderly women aged between 75 and 94 years.
These are the faces of some of the women police believe were victims of a serial killer. Norma French was 85 years old. Doris Gleason was 92. Phyllis Payne was 91 years old. Phoebe Perry, 94, and 76-year-old Rosemary Curtis and Mary Brooks.
The method was haunting in its simplicity and cruelty. Chemirmir would pose as a caregiver, handyman, or maintenance worker to gain entrance into the homes or rooms of his victims. Once inside, he would suffocate them, typically with a pillow, and leave with their valuables. Most of the deaths were initially deemed natural, allowing him to evade suspicion for years. What broke the case open wasn't DNA or surveillance footage, it was the survival of one of his intended victims. In March 2018, Mary Annis Battle, an 81-year-old widow, was attacked in her apartment. She later recounted how a man in green gloves forced his way in and pushed a pillow over her face. Miraculously, she survived. Her testimony gave investigators their first concrete lead. Surveillance and cell phone data soon linked Chemirmir to a suspicious pattern of visits and deaths in senior living communities. The breakthrough came on 20th March 2018 when police tracked Chemirmir to a trash bin where he had discarded a jewelry box. The box belonged to 81-year-old Luthi Harris, who had been found dead in her Dallas home.
Prosecutors highlighting security footage showing 81-year-old Lou Harris entering a Walmart near her home the day of her murder.
Is that Billy Chemirmir walking in? It is.
They say Billy Chemirmir, who's accused of murdering her, walked into the same Walmart moments after she did.
This is Miss Harris here?
Yes, sir.
This individual walks right here? Is that Mr. Chemirmir?
It is.
This discovery led to his arrest and opened the floodgates for deeper investigation. As the case unfolded, prosecutors in Dallas and Collin Counties began building a grim portfolio of indictments, ultimately charging Chemirmir with the murders of between 18 to 22 women. The scale of the crimes shocked the nation. How could someone operate so brazenly for so long, in plain sight, in communities meant to provide care and comfort? His first trial, held in late 2021, ended in a mistrial, frustrating families desperate for justice. But a retrial in April 2022 delivered the first convictions.
In Texas, opening statements are presented in the retrial of accused serial killer Billy Chemirmir in Dallas Monday. A man indicted in the murders of 18 elderly women who died between 2016 and 2018 in 2 neighboring counties. Chemirmir is on trial for one of those deaths, Lou Harris, an 81-year-old Vietnamese immigrant who lived alone in her home in Plano, Texas.
Chemirmir was found guilty of the capital murders of Luthi Harris and Mary Brooks. The court sentenced him to 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. Prosecutors, out of respect for the victims' families and to avoid prolonged proceedings, chose not to pursue the death penalty. As the legal process continued and additional cases remained open for investigation, Chemirmir's life came to a sudden and violent end behind bars. On September 19, 2023, less than 2 years after his conviction, Chemirmir was found dead in his cell at the Caulfield Unit, a maximum security prison in East Texas. He had been fatally stabbed by his cellmate, a fellow inmate serving a sentence for murder. Authorities launched an internal investigation and questions swirled. Was this justice or a brutal end that robbed victims' families of further answers? Chemirmir's death closed one chapter, but left many questions lingering. For the families of victims whose cases never made it to trial, justice remains incomplete. Though the man suspected of orchestrating one of the deadliest serial killings in recent American history is gone, the scars he left behind on grieving families, overlooked systems, and betrayed trust continue to demand reflection and, for many, healing.